Hi, this is a quick review of the Eco Flo Wave 3 portable air conditioner, and I looked all over the internet for reviews. All I can find are positive reviews. Everybody talking about how great it is, or maybe instructional videos. I couldn't find anything that really talked about some of the negatives associated with it. So that's what I want to do. Overall, I like the machine, and but there are some significant problems with it. So I'll begin by saying some of the negatives that I have seen online are that it doesn't cool enough. Well, you need to remember it is a 6100 BTU air conditioner. It's just a little bit better than a 5000 BTU room air conditioner that really you can't expect it to do a whole lot. Right now, as you see it here, I have it installed inside a what's called a Mini Max. It's a camper. And I keep it in here just to kind of keep it cool when I'm not using it. I can't run the overhead unit because I don't have a 30 amp hookup at my house, so I just plug this into the wall outlet and I let it run, and at least keeps the temperature down. But frankly, if it's 95 degrees outside, it'll be about 86, 87 in here at the top of the day. It just can't keep up. But again, that's not a fault of the unit. It's a 6100 BTU unit. When you think about it, it really is pretty amazing. Something this compact that can be used in amazing for what it does. Now, some of the advantages of it, of course, are its portability. The fact that you can plug it into an outlet. It only uses 400 or 500 watts at the most when it's running. It has a really good app that, of course, goes on your phone, and it shows you the input, the output. You can hook it up to solar, and of course the battery, which if you get the battery with it right now, it runs about $1,450 on sale. And the battery, I think, is 1100 watt hour battery, and it's the new lithium battery, so it's good for 4,000 charges without losing a significant amount of its power. That's pretty phenomenal. Now, people, I have heard some complaints that you can only run the unit on max for about 2 hours with this battery, but that's just math. You should know that. It's a 1100 watt hour battery. It'll take up about 500 watts on max, and so it'll last about 2 hours, a little over 2 hours. And if you want more power, get a bigger battery. Now, I do like the unit in many respects. Now, here are my concerns, and these are the things that I haven't seen covered in a video. First of all, the battery. The battery is obviously proprietary. It's an Ecoflow battery. The problem is it doesn't have the technology that you would expect. There's no screen on this battery. You can't plug this battery into a normal wall outlet. You have to use a special charger, or you have to hook it up to the Ecoflow. It slips under the Ecoflow pretty easily. It slides right on pretty nicely. But there's no power indicator on the battery itself other than this thing from the 90s. You press the button and the little LEDs come on and tell you, oh good, I have 4 bars. And you really don't know exactly how much power you have. You have to get your phone out to figure that out. I have a Delta 2 Ecoflow. It's a bit of an older unit, but even that gives me the power input and output. I don't know why they cheaped out on the battery, especially when the battery by itself cost $800. To get it with the unit, it's a little bit cheaper. Also, you can't use it like you would one of the Deltas. You can't plug in a regular 110 outlet. It does give you some outputs, USB C style outlets that you can charge your phone and things like that, but it's fairly useless other than being used with the Wave 3, and maybe that's because they want you to buy their other battery packs. Part of the challenge then too is, again, it slides right on pretty easily, and the unit itself is pretty light. It only weighs about 25 or so pounds. You put the battery on, it weighs about 35 or so pounds, but then you have to use this little cable. The dogs got a hold of it, but they didn't ruin it, thankfully. And in order to function with the battery, you've got to slide the battery on and then plug this cable in on the side, and that's not really too much of a pain in the neck. But if it's a proprietary battery that you can only use with this unit, it would be really nice if you didn't have to go through that. You could just slide it on and it worked. Wouldn't have been a big problem. So they kind of cheaped out on the battery in a way. The major problem that I have with this unit, there's really 2 major problems with the unit, and this is something that I just haven't seen covered. And that is, you can see over here I have a strip of metal tape that you use in your attic on the duct work. It's not duct tape. You don't want to put that on here. But this is metal tape. Why did I have to put it on here? Well, because this is very poorly designed. And there's probably going to be a Wave 4 in the next year or two that addresses some of these problems. There's no gasket here, so air leaks all throughout here, but particularly, at least on my unit, over here on this side, the temperature gets very hot. You have about 120 degree air that is escaping this side and pouring out into your house. So right now you can take the temperature of that. It's 107 degrees. Right now I don't have it on maximum at the moment. But that's a significant issue. I had to put tape on there to stop it. You spend $1,400 on an air conditioner unit, and then you got to get out your 10-cent piece of tape to improve it. I don't know why they couldn't have done that. Also, these brackets that you put on here are very cheap. I'm expecting them not to last real long. The brackets that hook this unit up to, or the vent up to the exhaust, the little latches that hook on there, really cheap plastic. I'm fairly certain those things are going to break. Thankfully, there's a bracket on both ends of this hose so that when this end breaks, I can use the other end. But way too cheap for the cost of the unit. There are a few other issues that I have with it. One of them is the fan. Now, folks have commented they think the fan's a little bit too loud. It's not really loud. It's just that I ran this thing for 3 days in this unit, and then the fan started making a noise like it was hitting something, or a little bit of a vibrating noise, giving me the impression that this may not be intended for long-term use. You'll maybe get a little bit of use out of this, but I'm not so sure that I'm going to be running this thing 5 years from now like I would an air conditioning unit. In fact, the battery will probably last longer than the unit will. The unit itself seems pretty solid. Other than that, one other significant issue that I have with it is the pump, and that is the vent or the drain hose. And you can see I have the drain hose going out the window where I put some foam in there. And the concern is you can have it on automatic drain, but a lot of these portable units will vent most of the water out of the vent. They'll vent it out as a vapor, and you very rarely have to empty it. In this unit, you can't run it more than 10-15 minutes, but you have to empty it, which means you have to have the hose permanently connected if you want to use this thing. So I do, and then you can put it on auto drain. There's a setting on here where you can hit the button and it will put it on auto drain. You can see that little indicator right there, and that means that it's going to pump it out whenever it gets full. And then there's another indicator right there telling you how full it is, and then your app will also show you that as well. And that's good. It's good that it's on the app, but when it's on auto drain, twice now I've come out, and in the middle of the day I'll just come out and check on it, see how it's doing. And twice now the auto drain has stopped working, and I come out and this blue bar is just glowing red. The unit has basically shut off. I hit the button and nothing happens, and I have to unplug the unit, wait a minute, and then plug it back in again for the pump, I guess, to reset and start pumping. So the problem is, if you're away for any significant period of time, maybe you've got dogs in your camper, or if you're using this in your car with the battery, and that thing decides to stop working, you're in trouble. And of course, in order to get a notification, and this is another thing that's a little bit gimmicky about this, is the pet alert. If your pets get too hot, it will send you an alert, but your unit has to have access to Wi-Fi in order to send you that alert. So for example, if you're in a parking lot somewhere and you go in to do your shopping and the drain stops working, it might try to send you an alert, but if it's not hooked up to Wi-Fi in this parking lot, then you're not going to get that alert. So in other words, the hope that I had is that maybe we can leave this in the car, leave it running. They give you cute little stickers where the pet says, "I'm fine, everything's fine." You can put on your windows so that people don't break your windows and rescue your pet. Problem is, you don't really know if they're fine, because that drain may stop working. It's done that to me twice in the 4 days that I had it hooked up. Overall, it's okay. It's certainly not worth the money that you spend on it for some of the cheap aspects of it, for some of the afterthoughts, things that they should have done, like this heat unit, the cheap battery, at least the cheap technology on the battery. But overall, it's decent. It can run without the battery. And would I buy it again? Probably not. I would probably just go with a floor unit. You can get a $300 unit at Walmart for the same power. Plug it into a Delta Pro 3 or something, and it'll run better and longer. So I'm not really thrilled with the unit overall. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a Wave 4, hopefully, that comes out and addresses some of these shortcomings. Anyway, I hope this review was useful to you, and you can check out other reviews to see how to use this thing, to see instructional videos and things like that. Thanks a lot for watching.